So, as we last saw in at the end of the last video, this map was too easy. So, we're going to have to change a few things around. So, we might as well delete what we don't need. And to delete, you can just put your cursor over whatever you want to delete and press your delete key, and it goes. Or, if you want, you can just click on the item and then there's the delete unit here. So the land, well, it's kind of a boring land, so I'll fix this up before the next video, but I don't need to worry about it just right now. So we want some more excitement. So we saw in the first set, one emitter was pretty easy to destroy. So what we can do is put in a few more emitters, and this here is your mer spawner. So this here will mer the ground at different speeds. So if we click on a spawner, we can set a different rate. So 4 cells, so everyone in the little square is a cell. You can make 4 cells per second. I can increase that significantly, so I can bring this guy up, for example, to 12. And you see it doesn't update here, even though I applied. So what I can do, if I save it and then load the map, that value will then be updated here. Or what I can do is, once this one has its updated value, I can copy. And I'll copy it like that, and that shows here that it's 12. And the white means it was cloned. That's relatively simple to figure out. So I had 3 mer spawners on this guy. This one will have a line, let's say, for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have more easy spawns right here. And an 8, 16. So we can save that. And we'll see, make sure our values are updated properly. So 2, 4, 8, 16, and then 4, 12, 12. That's what we wanted. So there's the mer spawners. They're pretty simple to work with. Excuse me, add structure. And then we have the stunners. Now, these are the ones that can be an annoyance if you don't have dischargers. So we can put one in the center of the triangle like this. If you click here, you have wave count, initial delay, and delay. Wave count is the amount of stunners that get spawned every time it fires. So we can set it to 2. I'm going to set to 4. So we get lots of stunners that fly around. Move that a bit more in the center right here. Initial delay is in number of frames. Remember, there's 30 frames per second. So if I were to do it, the first wave to come at time 30 seconds, 30 times 30 is 900. So it's going to start shooting very quickly. And you notice, even though I pressed 4 and I deselected, I forgot to press apply, so reset to initial values. So I have to do that here. So now if I come back, oh, that didn't work. 4, 900, apply. There we go. And the first wave is going to be at 30 seconds, and then it's going to start shooting every 2 minutes. Apply. Once you destroy, it's going to create, oh yeah, I should talk about this first. So there's a bunch of settings here below the actual values. The first one is enemy, which obviously if you deselect that, it becomes an ally and turns blue. This is map space, so how much room it takes. If you take this off, you can actually build your ships directly on it. But if I put it back on like this, I can't build my ship. Oh. I guess it allows me today. Lathe targets. This is the important one. If you take lathe target off, your vessel won't be able to lathe it and won't be able to destroy it. So if you do that, it turns yellow, meaning it's invulnerable. So we want that to actually be latheable. Mission goal means you need to kill it to win the game. Below here is when it's destroyed, it creates an energy field or energy source, and we can say a different range. That's just a regular range and the rate. I set to 0, so it doesn't give you any additional energy. Then when you destroy it, you get an Amgem. Same thing as the energy source. When you destroy it, it gives you something. Now, growth struck is the structures which we're going to work on in another video, and has lathe is it can actually lathe other stuff around it, which we're not going to worry about it right now. Invisible means the players can actually see it. If you take it off, it shows a little square, so when you actually finalize the map, you won't be able to see it. So that's set. So we're going to save this and carry on. So let's add a few more sources. Again, should delete this one, but we're going to set it to 7. So you get your basic energy sources. If you add your ally energy base but decide you want to take it off, you just press remove energy mine and leave it like that. Next we have the 3 emitters. We're going to add a few more emitters here and there. Now we don't know how exactly these emitters are going to work. We're just adding them and we'll worry about it later. So this is what I want for my basic map. Next, let's add in a few more structures. So we have the Amgems. So if you want just a free floating Amgem, you can put one in. And regardless of where they are, as long as it's within range of lathing, your ship will be able to lathe it. Let's put one here. Then below that you have ship pickup. So when you lathe this structure, it will give you a new ship that will go over here. Now we're not going to have that in this map. We don't need it. Omni pickup, similar to ship pickup. Instead it gives you an additional Omni right over here. Again, not required for this map. And info pickup. Info pickup, once you pick that up, it sets off one of these conversations, and I can show that later. Again, not needed for this map. We also have the Amgem factory, and the Amgem factory will make Amgems as long as it's powered by an energy source. Now you can set a limit. If you set the limit to 0, it gives you an unlimited amount of Amgems. The totem, you can have multiple, and I suggest having multiple. What the totem does is when it is fully powered, it starts to attack every enemy structure and destroys them after a few seconds, and that's how you win a map. So I won't be using those either. So the totem actually kind of works similar to the progenitor. Instead, the progenitor, if you destroy that, it destroys the entire enemies in one fell swoop, and then you win the map. Then we have the Tycon Burst and the Tycon Defense. As you know, the Tycon Burst, once you fill it with ammo, it bursts with a set of friendly particles, or if you were to press enemy, so the little red dot comes up, it becomes a enemy particle burst and sets off enemy particles. We might use one of those in this map, we'll see when we decide. And then the cannon, the almighty friendly cannon. You can power it up and it shoots enemy ships and particles. There's other very important units. We have the double and we have the ship spawner. The doppel is the outline of a ship that's filled in with particles, and the ship spawner makes the ship that you're looking for specifically in either an enemy or an ally method. And then the most powerful of the units is of course the PRPL core, which you can use to make your own scripts, which I will show much later. Actually, we're going to be using a script later at the end of this map, not today though. We're just going to put it in the corner actually, just to remind us that we need it, but we don't know what it's going to do yet. So we can save this, and we have the start of a map. Now there's a fair bit of enemies. It's going to be more of a challenge to destroy than the last time we played around with it. Structures, fields. Now we have structs. Now, you may not remember structs, but this is unbuilt struct. This is built struct. If you do the same thing with enemies, like that, and built. There's two kinds of struct. There is struct, which is weak, and then armored struct, which is strong. Now, you can't overwrite a friendly struct, but you can with a enemy struct like this. Notice how it's changing color, and if I zoom in, you can see that if I erase it, it will come back. Now, unlike land and field, to erase struct, you have to right-click. But by right-clicking, you'll notice I only erase the same kind of struct. So I can't erase friendly struct while I'm selected enemy, and I can't erase enemy while I'm selected the friendly struct. So now, what's the next step? Fields. As we said before, fields allow you to control how the particles move. If I were to put a field here, any particles that gets interfaces with this field would fly in this direction. Now I've just put intensity 2, so that means depending on the mass of the particles, they might be able to resist it a little bit. So I'll finalize that and I'll show you what I mean. So if I turn it on, the particles behave normally here, but then they start, as soon as they hit, they start going one parallel direction to the arrows. Obviously we get an amassing of particles. They're all aiming at that nice emitter. Now the reason why they're aiming is if you go into the particle, the emitter parameters, that percent that targets right here says that the particles will 100% of the time try to go to a source, an energy source. Below that, you can have ship target up to 100% and emitter. If you were to switch them all to 100% emitter, like this way, they will try to go towards other types of emitters. Oops. So I set that one to 100. Now I can go back. Now these have a long lifetime, so we would have to wait forever for them to start regenerating. So we can just clear over here in the editor panel. You can clear all particles. Now you'll see the particles, instead of going in this direction, we're going to speed this up. They're instead trying to go towards the other emitters. Notice these particles over here, they're coming from the outside and they're trying to get to this emitter, but the field is repulsing them in the backwards direction. So now we have these emitters that are stuck around, these particles stuck around the emitters. So we're going to stop the timer. Now, remember I didn't save, so if I try to load, I'm going to lose all this progress. So over here, we have the clear particles, which will remove all the particles once I unpause. So if I were to press N, for example, which skips one frame, everything disappears. And if I press clear plasma, which we don't have, it will remove every bit of plasma. Clear mirror, same thing, click it, all the mirror goes away. If I were to press clear fields, these guys here disappear. So I press clear field, and there it goes. Now we don't have any decay, we don't have structs, so we can't delete those. Now these guys, all these emergence are difficult to deal with because you have to delete individually, unless there's a better way that I don't know about. So let's just delete these emergence. The trails will stay there, which is fine. So we're going to delete the emergence like so. I think that's all of them. And finally, our timer's off. So what we can do is reset the timer. And then we finalize, and we can load. And then our map is back to normal. Obviously I forgot to remove the energy mine here, so we can do that. Now you'll notice that little gun is still there, and that can cause errors sometimes. So we can just delete it by pressing delete, and it goes away. So that's it for this video. We'll come back for some more work later.